What happens when a nation slowly turns its back on its faith? On July 14, 1833, John Keble, a respected Anglican clergyman and professor at Oxford, delivered a sermon that boldly answered that question. Standing before judges, clergy, and scholars at the University Church of St. Mary the Virgin, Keble preached the Assize Sermon titled National Apostasy, warning that England was drifting away from its Christian foundation, and the consequences would be profound. Keble's sermon came amid major political and religious changes in Britain. The Catholic Emancipation Act and the Reform Act of 1832 expanded civil rights and parliamentary power, while the Church Temporalities Act of 1833 reduced Irish bishoprics. Keble and many others saw these government actions as dangerous interference in the spiritual life of the Church. He argued that national apostasy was not simply rejecting Christianity, but putting worldly concerns above Christ. Using the example of ancient Israel from 1 Samuel 12, verse 23, Keble warned that England risked a similar fate if it neglected its Christian heritage. The surest way to lose God's blessing is to count it a burden and be weary of his presence, he said, lamenting the growing religious indifferentism in public life and private hearts. But Keble urged humility and faithfulness rather than rebellion. It is not rebellion, but submission and order, which are our duties, even when the powers that be are most unchristian, he taught. Christians must remain steadfast, prayerful, and loyal to the Apostolic Church, remembering Christ's words in Luke 10:16 about respecting church authority. Keble's practical advice was clear. Pray for rulers and calmly appeal for reform, just as Samuel did for Israel. True change begins with each believer living out piety, purity, charity, and justice, leaving the rest to God. The sermon deeply inspired Keble's peers, including John Henry Newman and Edward Bouverie Pusey. Together, they launched the Oxford movement to revive the Catholic heritage of the Church of England, emphasizing apostolic succession, sacraments, and tradition. Today, Keble's call remains urgent. Resist placing worldly priorities above faith, renew spiritual commitment, and stand firm in prayer and witness. If you found this inspiring, don't forget to subscribe for more stories that challenge and encourage your faith journey.